The next part of the section is on compound interest. Now, interest is if you're putting money into a bank, you're going to get money back, or money in interest. And something called simple interest is if you put your money in, the interest is always calculated just on the original amount that you invested, or what's called the principal. But in compound interest, as soon as you get your first interest, it gets added to your principal, so that the next time you get interest, it's calculated not only on the principal, but on the interest that you already got. So as long as you don't take out any money, then every segment you're going to get more and more interest. And that's because it's calculating that interest on a larger and larger amount. So it's a very important topic. If you've taken a finance course, then you've probably already worked with questions like this. So we have a formula, and I want to define our variables. So A is the future value, P is the present value, and like we talked about, that is called the principal. And that principal is also your pal. The R stands for the rate of interest, and that's specifically as a decimal. So make sure it's in decimal form before you plug it into the formula. T is the time, and it's specifically in years. And then N, this is how many times it's compounded in 1 year. So how many times does it take your interest and add it to your original principal? And there's a couple different types. So N could be 1, which that is annually. If N is 2, that is semi-annually. Quarterly is 4. Monthly is 12. Weekly is 52. And daily is 365. Now, some banks and some books use 360. So if you do take another course, then it is possible that you'll see 360 being used. But for this book, we are going to be using 365. Okay, so number 13 says if $2,000 is invested in an account paying 4% compounded monthly, find the value of the investment after 8 years. And I like to start by defining my variables. So A is what we're looking for. This is the future amount. P is the present value, or the principal, and we know we have $2,000. The R is going to be 0.04 because that's the 4% as a decimal. The N is going to be 12 because it's compounded monthly. And then the T is going to be 8 because the time frame is 8 years. So my formula is going to be 2,000 times 1 plus 0.04 over 12 raised to the 12 times 8. And let me calculate that. And this is going to be $2,752. And let's round to 2 decimal places because that makes sense. And that's my best joke of the semester, so that's pretty bad. So yeah, this will be our answer. If you have the older version of the calculator, then you may need to type it in a little bit differently. So it would be 2001 plus 0.04 divided by 12 raised to the 12 times 8. And then you should be able to get the same answer.